A new school year begins amid deep uncertainty, hope, cuts, and the fierce will of Chicago families. What does it look like when joy meets uncertainty? On the first day back, Chicago school children donned their sharp uniforms and fresh sneakers, bright-eyed and eager, while school buses threaded through city streets, charting routes that would soon feel like routine. Parents gave loving hugs and hopeful words as their children headed off to meet new teachers and make new friends. The city pulsed with anticipation, yet a cloud of financial instability hovered over the celebration. A fact impossible to ignore for families who rely on Chicago public schools. While she doesn't hold a grudge against the district for being strapped for funding, CPS's tight budgets have molded her into a passionate defender of her kids' needs. "This isn't about me, it's about them," she says, carefully braiding her daughter Jadeline's hair before the morning dash to school. For Delia, advocating for her children, 3 of whom are on the autism spectrum, is an unwavering mission. And this is the part most people miss. Parents like Delia may not follow the complicated politics of district budgets, but they form the lifeblood of CPS. Across the city, families are adapting, organizing, and stepping up, not for politics' sake, but for their children's futures. Behind the scenes, school officials have been scrambling. In the face of a massive $734 million budget shortfall, CPS leaders spent the summer not just managing numbers, but wrestling with factional struggles involving City Hall, the Chicago Teachers Union, and the district's own brass. As new detailed budgets trickled down to each school, principals spent countless hours reworking their priorities. The district says it allocates resources based on students' unique needs, from English learners to special education and students needing emotional support. But how well does that play out when the pie is shrinking? For some, like Victoria Naranjo in McKinley Park, this first day is a testament to resilience in the face of adversity. In her kitchen, she packs a lunch, cookies, fresh fruit, and empanada, while her 6-year-old daughter, Johanna, practically bursts through the morning with excitement. On the wall hangs a certificate applauding Johanna's huge leap in English in just 6 months, a feat that fills her father, Jose Ramos, with pride. The Naranjo family's journey from Caracas, Venezuela, to Chicago is shaped by desperation and hope. Violence back home, a need for better health care, and dreams of education. Little Maya, Johanna's 4-year-old sister, was diagnosed with tuberculosis and suffered a stroke that left her with lasting cognitive delays. Maya, who now communicates through a feeding tube and simple words learned through weeks of therapy, has an individualized education program, IEP, tailored by the district, but the school assigned to her is far from home, and staff speak little English. With the school nurse only present 2 days a week, Victoria worries endlessly. "My daughter needs proper medical support every day. What would you do in my shoes? How can I get her the care she deserves?" Monday morning, the entire family trekked a few blocks to Edward Everett Elementary, running a bit late, but hearts full of hope. When Victoria learned that Johanna's new teacher spoke Spanish, relief washed over her. A tiny victory in a city of challenges. But what about those challenges? District-wide, this year started with the lowest teacher and staff vacancy rate in recent memory. Just 2.46% of teacher posts unfilled, down from last year's 4.4%. For the first time in more than a decade, most new hires in CPS are Black or Latino, a point of pride officials are quick to highlight. Yet shadows remain. On day 1, a firearm was found during a security check at Whitney Young High, leading to an arrest and underscoring ongoing safety fears. And despite a major contract for teachers, valued at a hefty $1.5 billion and lauded for expanding support for bilingual and special needs students, the question remains, can the district truly honor those commitments given the budget constraints ahead? Some insiders doubt it, and union leaders are already threatening litigation over possible funding shortfalls. The controversy thickens. Mayor Brandon Johnson, himself a former teachers union organizer, is urging the interim CPS CEO, Macklin King, to take on more debt to plug this year's budget gap. Yet as one of America's largest issuers of high-risk municipal bonds, junk bonds, CPS faces stern warnings from credit agencies. More borrowing could be disastrous. Does it make sense to borrow from tomorrow to survive today? At information sessions, most parents voiced deep concern about saddling future students with financial burdens. Responding to this feedback, CPS submitted a $10.2 billion budget that leans heavily on cuts rather than loans. The aim is to minimize impact within classrooms, but in reality, thousands of families will feel the squeeze. Over 2,000 staffers, including 700 special education aides, 300 paraprofessionals, and 100 crossing guards have already lost their jobs. How does this play out at street level? With no crossing guards outside Everett Elementary, it was up to security guard Victor Juarez to greet arriving students. Glancing across the street at the empty crosswalk, he acknowledges, "We really need them here." But is CPS doing enough for its most vulnerable? Delia Cruz's experiences say otherwise. Her autistic son Lionel struggled so much at his old school, where just one special ed assistant managed a whole classroom, that he was nearly expelled for pulling a fire alarm. Delia had to find another school outside the district to meet his needs. It wasn't working there. They just didn't know how to help him, she says. Linking her story back to the system, Delia wonders aloud, can any parent trust CPS to provide for every child? Still, there are glimmers of progress. Her eldest daughter's high school, George Washington High, has been tapped as one of CPS's new sustainable community schools. The extra $500,000 in funding supports partnerships with local nonprofits, adding wraparound services and social supports that make a real difference. Come 8:17 a.m., the Cruz family poured out their front door, arms full of supplies and nerves buzzing. The kids, Jadelyn and Jane, carry matching pink backpacks and gifts for their teachers, chatting excitedly about seeing friends. As their parents waved goodbye, the two girls bounded ahead, eager for what lies ahead. And this is exactly where the debate heats up. Can hope and determination on the part of families make up for systemic underfunding? Should the district risk deeper debt to avoid further cuts? Or